You are now listening to the Bluprint Pod. Get ready for another exciting episode, so sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Welcome back to the Bluprint. It's your boy Mohammed Imam, aka NFTs, joined today by my co-host, co-founder, and good friend Ray Roots. How you doing today, bro?
What is up? We are back at it again with another episode. I'm just happy that we're continuing to do this thing. We're past 3 months at this point. We're closing in on 4 months, if I'm counting correctly. So
Yeah, so today's episode 15, so it's the 15th week of the podcast dropping. So yeah,
that's crazy.
but yeah, episode 15. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the wildly popular upcoming craze that's going on right now, which is NFTs, non-fungible tokens, I believe it's called.
Yes.
And yeah, that's the whole thing. I'll be talking a little bit about that. I'm going to be talking about losing perspective and the grand scheme of being a YouTuber and a creative, and also the video Ray Roots dropped today, which we're going to start on. But first, how you doing in general, man?
You know what? I'm just chilling. I'm fed up with lockdown, but I'm after over a year, I'm finally getting settled with the lifestyle of being in lockdown. It took me a year and a half to get used to it, but I'm just starting to do creative.
What do you mean
stuff.
by used to it?
Like as in I can do creative work and not use lockdown as a reason not to do anything. The first step I think was just creating the whole brand that we started, but now I'm setting up shoots with friends, and I'm setting up shoots just for fun, not even client work, but just doing different things. And from that aspect, I'm doing pretty well.
Yeah.
What about you? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. I wouldn't say I'm burnt out, but I feel like I'm approaching a burnout stage, so I need to really manage that.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Yeah, I feel like I'm getting there, but we've discussed it around how we're gonna deal with it if it happens, and yeah, main thing is getting a backlog in place. I'm all good, but I feel like I'm not creating things I'm not creating things on a passion project basis. I'm creating things because I want to achieve something rather than enjoy it at the moment. So I want to get back to a point where I'm making stuff that I enjoy making for fun as well. Like we talked about in the last episode, where I said that video with the photography shoot that was really fun. I want to do more stuff like that. So yeah, I'm planning some things in the upcoming videos that will hopefully reflect that. So we'll see how they go.
Oh, interesting.
But yeah, we're going to talk about a bit about your video that you just dropped today, which is you starting a new series, Hollywood Breakdowns, courtesy, the name courtesy of your boy, obviously. Yeah, we had to claim everything shamelessly.
Yeah, you might as well do it.
I might even add that I was pushing you to do these kind of videos too.
I mean, that you should, because it's true.
Yeah. So for me, I've watched a few videos like that. Obviously, this is your first episode, and you talked about Harry Potter. You broke down a few scenes from Harry Potter, and you talked about different things like the composition, the color grading, the way they focus on certain characters, and the positions of power that each character hold over each other. I really enjoyed the video. I just watched it an hour and a half ago. And you just dropped, yeah, man. I think it's already doing better than both probably the last 3 weeks of videos that we put out.
Yeah, it is.
So you kind of expected that. You were kind of hoping for that, weren't you?
Well, I mean, let's go back a step or two, because when I told him that the video dropped, he just said, "I watched it. Let's talk about it on the pod." He didn't say if you liked it or not, so I didn't know until right now that you actually enjoyed it. So that's a relief. Next time, don't make me wait that long again, because that's triggering anxiety. But what was your question again? I forgot your question.
The thing is, if we're releasing something and end up recording on the same day, I think we should do a reaction every time, just to see how we feel about it, because it's interesting.
All right, well, I mean, I'm celebrating 52 views, so I think we're doing pretty well now.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's funny, man. Episode 15, we're celebrating 52 views.
Yeah.
Let's see how that goes in a couple of months' time. But yeah, man. The question was how did you feel when because you told me before you released the video that this was very easy for you to record. and you
Yes.
did it all in one take basically, and the script, you didn't have a script either, and it was easy to edit as well. So like, do you feel like you
Yeah.
found your groove? Because I've been trying to like advise you to think of something that you can just find that's easy for you to do, and easy for you to create videos like consistently. And obviously films, there's an infinite amount of them, so you can always pull from different films, and you can look at the
Right.
bad ones and the good ones, like you said in the video, and you can tackle it from so many different angles. So I'm glad that you found something like that.
Yeah, I mean, let me tell the listeners about my usual workflow. The first couple of how many have I done? Like 5 talking head videos.
Too many.
Yeah, and it's like I hated writing the scripts. Like I enjoyed doing the videos, but I hated writing the scripts. I hated recording it because like I'm not gonna sit there and memorize 4 pages every week. So like it's very clear that I was reading from a piece of paper or a screen or whatever. And the editing just took forever because you have a 10-minute video, but you have 30 minutes of footage
Mm,
because you mess up so many times.
mm.
And this time I just decided to, because I didn't want to do any more productivity videos. I was like, I'm just fed up with talking about productivity because this is a creativity channel first and foremost.
Yeah.
It's not a productivity
Talking
channel.
about productivity, what are you producing?
Dude, like, oh my goodness, like we've been talking, I don't know about like not you as much as me, but just there's just so much productivity stuff on our channel, and that's not what we advertised to begin with. So I'm just happy to do something creatively, and the way that I did it this time, obviously I was pushed a lot by you to start doing things that you probably knew was my forte, if you want to say that.
Yeah.
I just switched the camera angle, and I just looked at the clip. I found a clip and I looked at it like 5, 6 times maybe. And I was like, all right, you know what? I know what I want to talk about. And I just hit record. I did it whole in one take,
Mm-hmm.
no script.
Mm-hmm.
And the editing took me maybe an hour. And,
Yeah.
and like 10% of that hour, 20% of that hour was just rewatching the footage.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy with even if it flopped, because I mean it's hard to flop more than some of the videos we've done, but even if it flopped at that level, I would have been happy about it because it's something that I actually enjoyed doing. I really enjoyed making this video.
Mm. So, like, I'm glad to hear that. And I've got nothing really to add, man. I thought it was a good video, and I feel like you found your groove, and it sounds natural, like you're enjoying it, and it's something that you're gonna look back on, and you're like, this was a good video, and it's a
Yeah,
good start to the series as well that you're gonna start. So, it's
53 views. Let's go.
53 views. Let's
I'm
go.
just
What is that?
refreshing the page.
2 hours, yeah. Well,
Yeah,
let's
2 hours.
yeah. So, like, well, you dropped it at my 5, right?
Yeah,
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 still
you're
two
fine.
hours, but yeah, man. You just mentioned talking about flops, so we'll move swiftly on to the next section, which is losing perspective, because you say that other videos have been flops here, but let's talk about how many millions of people are doing YouTube right now, and like how long we've been doing it for, like how like difficult it is to get discovered and things like that. So, like, I feel like it's very, very, very easy to lose perspective
Yeah,
when we're doing this, and I just have to continuously keep reminding us, and you keep reminding us as well. Like, we're 3 months into it. Where what do we expect really? I mean, I remember when we started. I was like, by the end of the year, I want to have 1,000 subs. That was my realistic goal. You said something like 50,000.
I think I said 10,000 or
No,
something
you
like
said
that.
50K.
I
I
did.
remember. Yeah, I
I
remember.
take it back. I take it
Yeah.
back. I take that back. I was wilding. I was on mushrooms or something. I don't know. Like there must
Yeah,
have been.
you on
Oh my
that. You
god.
on that. I just lost my YouTube virginity.
I saw us getting like 150 views, and I was like, "Yep, 50K. Here we come."
Yeah, so like, oh man, the plateau and the humble the humble shot we took. You got that humble vaccination right there.
Woo!
So
A slice of humble pie.
so like it's just funny, like like we're looking back at it now, and we just have to continuously remind ourselves. Earlier in the day, I said we're not allowed to complain until we hit 6 months at least, because like
Yeah,
when you complain, that's when it's like the thought in your head is like, I deserve more all the time.
Right.
And I'm pretty bad. Like I'm not like a huge complainer, but when I feel like I've done something right and I don't see the results for it, I'm just like, Then I tend to complain in a kind of like constructive way, but ultimately it's
What
yeah,
constructive my
that's what I'm gonna
behind?
call it, constructive complaining.
That is not true.
Yes, sir. Coin turned by NFTs right here in the show. But yeah, because the way I see it is like you complain and it doesn't like seem like it's affecting anyone or anything, but I think it is affecting your mentality and the way you're thinking about the way, like the perspective of the results that you're getting from the fruit from the labor that you're putting in. And
Yeah,
like
for
over
sure.
time, it becomes more and more toxic, I believe, especially when you do it in a group like we are. So we're like kind of circle jerking the whole issue, you know. So I feel like it compiles and it adds up, and then like you get a negative feeling out of it, you know.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we're 29 videos in. I mean,
And
we're
half
not.
those are podcasts, so
Yeah, and half of those are podcast episodes. So we're like 15 videos in, and I mean, it's ridiculous to expect anything to happen with 15 videos. But we do a lot more than just make videos.
mhm,
We make the videos, we make the snippets, we do subtitles, we do podcast, we talk to potential guests.
mhm.
The whole like when people say they make YouTube videos, they usually don't just make a video; they make 100 different things to go with that video. And we're in that journey as well, and it's just,
Mm.
whew, buddy, it is it is
It's really
draining.
Yeah, man. Like it is hugely draining. That's why we've got to like be smart about things. And this is advice for anyone that's like coming along the journey with us or starting looking to start their own thing. You've got to really be smart about cutting your losses and thinking about what you need to drop and what you need to add. So we're gonna be making some changes in the near future, actually. So
Yeah.
people who are listening are probably going to be a bit disappointed, but ultimately we want to make sure that we're always producing quality. We don't want to like force things, but we also want to be consistent. So there's a fine balance in that regard. So you have to really think about what you're saying no and what you're saying yes to.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's kind of what I want to talk about in terms of like losing perspective. So yeah, man. From me, if you hear another complaint from me for another 3 months, I think I deserve to get docked some kind of imaginary points. I don't know. I don't know. We're gonna
Listen,
have to do some kind of
li-
forfeit.
like I know that you're gonna like next week you're gonna complain because I'm gonna complain next week. So it's gonna happen. But as long as we keep it between you and I think we're cool. Like I'll make
Hmm.
memes about it. You'll make memes about it. As long as we can keep it between you and me and not
Look,
complain in public, I'll be fine.
all right, all right. The memes are the next level of constructive complaining.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's an outlet. It's an outlet for our frustrations.
When you drop 2 videos a week and then some kind of I don't know SpongeBob meme, I'm gonna be dropping that after this video. But yeah,
I mean,
it's
we gotta understand that we are also a product of the instant gratification culture.
mhm.
Like we're just because we are aware of it doesn't mean that we're not victims of it.
Yeah,
Like
100%.
like but you have to understand that even the people that you think are uh one hit wonders, they usually aren't. They usually like it doesn't mean that they haven't put in work. I remember the story about Soldier Boy that was incredible.
Mm.
People called him a
One
one
hit
hit
wonder.
wonder. And when he talked about the work that he put in with his first single, like he would rename it like Snoop Dogg or something, and then he would put it on LimeWire. So when people went on there to download illegally, they would think it was Snoop Dogg, but it turned out to be
Okay.
Soldier Boy's song. Like he would put in work to get his song, like get people to listen to his song. So, but and then he blew up, and people say he's a one hit wonder. But like, yeah, I should put in a lot of work. And the few people who do get like who really blow up overnight, they also disappear overnight. So
Mm,
that's not really what we want to do either. So
mm,
although I'm frustrated, I understand that if we blow up tomorrow, we're probably not going to be able to uh, take advantage of the attention that we get.
mm. Interesting. Like I'll ask you two questions then. In terms of us creating on a weekly basis, and obviously us doing our own freelance things at the same time, and working 9 to 5. In terms of your creative work, do you feel like you've had much time to really enjoy yourself and express yourself naturally the way you do without any expectations?
You mean in like away from YouTube?
Yeah.
No, not at all. but that's because I hate using my camera. So I'm not taking it outside of my
Is that
home.
the only obstacle then?
Huh?
Is that the only obstacle you'd say you
Yeah, I
face?
would say the camera is. 'Cause I hate using it. Like I can't. I think I've said this so much. I hate using my camera, and because of that, I don't want to use it outside of my home. I've kind of dialed in the settings and done my setup at home, so everything I just have to hit record. But if I take it outside, I have to reset it, and I really don't like using my camera.
Mm-mm-mm.
So I haven't done a lot of the projects that I wanted to do, but I'm starting to like just accept it,
Yeah,
and then I've like scheduled something two projects for next week
right.
that are just purely for like passion projects, and that's what I meant when I said to begin with. I'm kind of getting used to lockdown now, and what I mean by that is like I'm starting to do creative stuff for the sake of doing creative stuff
Mm,
again, which I last time I did that was before lockdown.
mm. It's interesting because you posted the snippet of the video you dropped today on your channel, on your Instagram page, and the Bluprint, and a notification came up on my phone to say that you posted for the first time in a while. So I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
I mean, that is. I mean, my Instagram account is dead. It's completely like I've lost like 400 followers. Let me go see. I have a post from March 23rd, 2020, and then I'm not uploading anything until like 3 months ago,
Mm,
and then I take 2 months break and I upload something, and like I just it's just sporadically like a video there, a picture here,
yeah,
but it also has to do with the fact that my Instagram is usually pictures,
yeah.
and I don't have a camera anymore that does photography, and like it's stressing me out like on a daily basis.
Mm.
But
You better
that's the
get back
reason why
into
my
it, boy.
IG is dead.
Yeah, somebody buy this man's camera.
Please, someone send me a couple thousand.
Yeah. So all right. So we talked about all that now, and now we've kind of talked a little bit about managing expectations. Let's say I want to hear because my goal is still 1,000 subscribers. Yeah. I want to hear what yours is.
1100.
1,100.
I don't know,
What are you
man.
dropping it about? 48. What?
Just
48,900. My
no.
word.
I'm gonna you know what, I'm gonna stick to my guns. You know what, we're gonna get 50K at some point. We're gonna go viral with something, and boom, we're gonna I know it. It's gonna happen.
All right, I'm bookmarking this conversation. No,
50,000.
no, no. I want to hear serious. Is it serious?
No.
No, tell me what you seriously think then.
I mean, realistically, or
What you seriously predict?
I don't know, maybe like 1,000, 2,000.
Okay, okay. So
We
I
gained
mean,
4 subscribers today, so that's
yeah,
something.
yeah. So keep dropping them kind of videos and
Yeah.
4 subs. That means how many videos you gotta make that in that way.
I might
But
have to start dropping a video every day, man.
yeah, man, YouTube game is an interesting one. So I gotta give like some serious commendments to those people that continuously do it for years on end and don't get anything out of it, man. I think that's crazy, honestly.
Yeah. You know, we should have done YouTube 10 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, shoulda, coulda, woulda, but
Yeah.
yeah. So for me, like, I definitely plan on getting back into things, but I also want to start doing like different hobbies as well that I don't always like post, and I've always struggled with that. I don't think, for some reason, I have this mentality of when I post, when I make something, I gotta post it. So
Mm.
like now I'm thinking of starting to do collages and get into film photography and stuff, but I
Ooh.
feel like I'm gonna start posting it, and then I'm gonna start losing the joy out of it. So I don't know, man. I need to find a way to balance that.
You seen the first analog photo I took?
No,
You haven't seen it?
I don't remember. I feel like
It
you
was
took a really good one actually, but was it
I
in a car or
posted it.
something?
Yeah, it was in a car. It was the first, like I didn't know the settings. I just dialed something in, I hit click, and turned out to be the best picture I took in that whole film roll.
That's actually really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's funny because I'm gonna talk about a little bit about the evolution of art and stuff after this. Well, it's
Okay.
just funny how like analog photos. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's because you focus. Would you say you focused on the composition a bit more when you took that picture, or you just shot it?
You know what it is? Is because I had my mirrorless camera and I had a analog camera at the same time, and I would change in between the two while I
Mhm.
was trying to get into analog photography. And
Yeah.
I just noticed, like, when I go with my mirrorless, I just click the shutter and I just hold it. I just go click 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 click. Like I
Yeah.
could take a million pictures, and if I don't like one, I can just delete it. But you know
Mm.
what? If I take a million bad pictures, it's gonna cost me because I'm gonna have to buy a new film roll. Like,
Mm.
and it's not expensive, but it's more expensive and it's more time consuming than
You
a
gotta get it
digital.
processed as well.
Yeah, like you could do it at home, but I didn't want to do it at home because I didn't have the space where I used to live before. Like, you don't need a lot. I just had so much garbage at home. I didn't want to bring in more, but I had to
Okay.
give it to a store, and I had to wait a couple of days. And then once I got it back, I had like 30 photos, and maybe two of them turned out good.
Mm.
And like it just makes you think a lot more before you hit that shutter. But that also means you might miss out on a couple of shots that you would have gotten on digital.
Yeah. It's interesting. Mm.
I just
Yeah.
love the aesthetic. What I did was with my digital is I tried to make it look as much. I tried to make it look like it was shot on film.
Yeah.
Like I tried to do it with a lot of the pictures that I did. Um,
Hmm. I mean,
but
it looks really
as-
nice. You sent it to me just now. So the guy smoking, the smoke is everywhere, and it looks like you just captured so much detail there. It's
yeah,
funny enough. So, it looks really nice, man. Like, when you got the roll of film back, because I have no idea. Or like with the roll of film, when they processed the picture and stuff, how did you like put it into your like digitally? How did you scan it in and stuff?
they gave me a. I gave them my SD card,
Okay.
and they put it on the SD card as well. But they what they usually do is they'll put it on a CD
Yeah.
and give it to you. And I told them, like, no one has a CD drive in like, it was in 2020. So no one has a CD drive in 2020. What do you want me to do with this?
Hmm.
And she said that if you bring an SD card, a USB, what is it called, a USB dongle,
USB, USB stick.
a USB stick. All right, if you bring that, she could put the pictures on that as well. So that's how I got it. But if you want to do it at home, you need to process the negatives, and then you need to have a negative scanner. So that's a bit more work. So, and I didn't want to buy a scanner and all the chemicals. I just went to a shop to get it done.
So this is the Bluprint Podcast. We just talked about losing perspective in the YouTube game. We talked about setting new goals for the channel.
Yep, yep, yep.
And the latest video on that Ray dropped today, which was part of his new series, Hollywood Breakdowns. So yeah, now I'm gonna move on to the next section, which is about NFT art, non-fungible token art. The whole
Yes.
crypto world is going crazy. Ray's always talking about crypto in every single episode. I think in episode 20, I'm going to do a crypto account, I think.
Crypto,
But,
crypto, crypto.
yeah, so NFTs, like, they seem to be the next natural evolution step for digital art, apparently. It's a really interesting topic. Me and Ray are both total novices. We don't really know much about it, but I want to kind of talk about it today just as total beginners or as people that have just heard about it. Like, what is it? Like, from a more conceptual point of view. I plan to do more research into it and eventually make my own NFT art as well, potentially. And also, I plan to get someone we can interview on the show that has a lot more knowledge about it and has probably sold a piece or two on NFTs. But I'll just give a brief description before I kind of pose some questions to Ray that I just think are interesting questions in terms of the whole concept of it.
Oh,
So
let's do it.
yeah, so they're basically tokens, like digital tokens that are encrypted on the blockchain, which is basically like the place where all the digital art tokens are stored, and a lot of other crypto stuff are stored. Some kind of, I don't know how to describe it, but it's some kind of server that holds all this information. And
10 years in, and you still can't explain blockchain.
what do you mean 10 years in? You mean
I mean,
15 episodes of you talking about it? All right, you go ahead and explain it then.
hey, I'm in the crypto game, and I don't know how to explain
Yeah, but
blockchain.
all right. Like I said, like I gave the disclaimer. I'm a total novice, so excuse me in that regard.
Sorry.
So basically, the digital art can be sold, and you can get a copy of the token, basically. But every single like digital art that gets sold as an NFT is basically a unique item that is totally 100% unique to the person that owns it at the time. So there's no such thing as copies of it. For example, if I send you, which is also why I have some questions about like the whole concept of it. So if I sell a crypto art, basically all the rights go to the person who holds the crypto art, basically, and they have the only unique copy of it. And in the token that the owner will have is basically like a unique set of code that the token will be based on, and like that code obviously it's very like it's unique, so it's one of a kind basically. So you can't like copy the code and change it, and that'll be like and like give that to someone else as the same piece of art. It'll be a totally different piece of art or whatever the token is, because people have been doing it in so many different ways. There's even bands that are cool. There's one band that are like they're gonna sell their album on the NFT basically. So it's going so many different ways. So you can make art out of it, you can make music and publish it. You can a couple interesting things I saw was like even people selling videos of for example Banksy, I think last year or the year before, where he shredded one of his art pieces in a middle of a auction, and someone recorded that and sold their recording as an NFT. So like these kind of things are just like, I'm just thinking like, this is crazy. Like, like what does this mean for the actual art game? And it's also becoming quite popular because people like Logan Paul, for example, he made like some digital art, or he got someone to make some digital art for him that included, it was like a Pokemon card thing where he was holding like some Pokemon cards, but he's got like an animated character, and he sold that for loads of money. I don't know how it works, but he sold that for loads of money. And then there's also like even other companies now getting into the game, like Taco Bell. Apparently they've got someone to create a whole bunch of art for them, which is just like different tacos.
Taco
like,
Bell art?
Taco Bell art, yeah.
Damn.
And they made it in like different like digital ways, and it's also become so popular that the money that's being invested into it is ridiculous. Like I heard in the last week of February, which was the last time I checked, more than $44 million dollars worth of crypto art was sold in just 1 week, in the last week of February. And as of last week, today is the 12th of March, I think, 2021. Last week or a few days ago, a very highly popular 3D concept artist and designer who's very well known as Beeple, he sold one piece for $69 million. $69 million.
Jeez.
Yeah, and just to put that into context, the Mona Lisa at the moment apparently is worth $300 million. So,
damn.
Yeah, think about it like that. Like the most expensive paintings of all time are things that have lasted for centuries, that have been renovated, that have been protected and insured, and even stolen a couple of times and then recovered, and all these things. Like it's most likely that at some point the NFTs will get to a point where some of them might even value more than that. Which is crazy, and apparently it's a very volatile market, which isn't very predictable. But if like a best case scenarios, they could easily become a lot more expensive than those really very popular pieces of art like the Mona Lisa or some of the other more highly well-known artists, Basquiat, Da Vinci, all those guys. So it's just crazy to see where it's going, and it's funny because I've had a few questions about it, and when I go on Twitter and stuff, I see a lot of artists like kind of talking about it in a negative way. A lot of technology people talk about it in a positive way, but I see a lot of artists talking about it in a negative way, where they're like apparently like there's even bots now that can that can basically use your art and pretend like they're the one that made it, and then they go and sell it on the as an NFT basically. So like there's people on Twitter that have had their art stolen by bots, and then that they get that the NFT gets sold by the bot, and then whoever's stealing it or whatever is getting that money back basically. So it's funny because some people say that it will protect art because it's only one unique token that can be accredited to the actual piece of art. But then again, art pieces can be stolen if those artists aren't at a level where they can copyright their stuff easily and like fight it in a legal way, you know. So there's like a lot of questions about it. It's very new, it's very interesting and unique. And then when you think about like the natural progression of technology, like for example, this call that we're having even is something that we don't have thought about probably 15 years ago. Like recording the actual program itself is recording what we're saying, and it's going to put it in two separate tracks, and it's very easily going to help us edit it after. And then for example, Audible, which is audiobooks, like that a lot of people feel like actual like analog books are dying out because of ebooks and audiobooks, for example, and then digital art as well. A lot of traditional artists see digital artists as like kind of hacks where they're not really doing art. They're just like, even me, for example, sometimes I doubt myself where I'm like, is the photo manipulation stuff that I'm doing really like is like real art, like compared to like the guys that have been doing it for years, like in terms of analog painting and stuff. But obviously, like that's just something that I think about every now and then, but I don't feel is a real fear because art is about expression and subjectivity. So it's just interesting how that whole thing is going, man. So like, what do you think about it when you first heard about it, the NFT in general? Because you're
I
interested in crypto anyway.
So I think the reason why this would be interesting for us to give our perspective on is because we're both artists, but we're also in the tech industry. Like we're in
Yeah,
IT. We work in with IT, both of us.
yeah,
Um, and not gonna lie to you, when I first heard about NFTs, my first thought was this is a way to make money. I didn't care much about the art because I don't care much about owning a unique piece of art that no one else can own. Like I never cared about that. Like it very rarely will you see me fight over a piece of anything that is a one out of one or super limited edition. Like I'm going to use a bad example, but Jordans, for example, right? They're limited edition release. If I don't get one, I'm cool.
hmm
Like I'm okay with not owning everything. I don't have the desire for ownership over everything that I like. And if I can find a digital copy online, which you can of almost anything, like you'll have people say, buy my NFT, and then they'll post a preview. If I want to enjoy that preview that they posted on Twitter or Instagram, I'll just save the post.
yeah.
I don't need to own it.
hmm
Certainly not paying 69 million to own it. That's
hmm
23% the value of Mona Lisa.
Yeah, so like this is the kind of questions I'm wondering because surely like yeah like it's a unique piece of art and like apparently like you can also get physical copies where it's kind of like a screen or something that displays the art in a certain way. It looks really cool. But like surely you can just have the same thing. Like you can just go and print screen some kind of PNG on Instagram or something, and then go and print it if you want, like print it at high quality on some high quality canvas or paper.
Yeah.
Like, how do you, like, what's the huge appeal? I don't get it, man. Like, that's what I'm really questioning.
I
Like,
mean, if you have 69 million to throw on a piece of art, I don't think we think the same. So, uh,
damn,
yeah, I don't think. I mean, honestly, if you
we are
have
not the
69
same.
million, we're not the same. Like you're different. You're built different. Like
Really?
that's if that's pocket, if that's spare change for you. Like
Yeah.
we aren't built the same, and I'm okay with that. Like I'm cool. I'm broke. You're rich. That's fine.
Mm.
I'm not even gonna spend 100 on
But
on NFTs. The only reason why I almost spent $100 was because I was looking at it from an investment perspective. I said, you know, I
mhm,
can flip this in the future.
yeah.
That's the only reason.
Which is very feasible, but and like here's the thing, like obviously you don't have to spend $69 million. It could
Yeah, of
you could
course.
invest like you said $100 or something. But even then, how does it work? Like you're paying for something that you could easily just like screenshot or something.
Yeah,
Like
it's. I think if you look at it from if we look at it from a perspective of art,
mhm,
it's not going to make a whole lot of sense for you and me because we just don't understand it. But if you look at it from a there was a guy on Twitter who used a sports example to make his point. He said, imagine someone owns the LeBron block from Game 7, right? Like that, like to own that, that's kind of crazy. I know you can watch it, but I own it. And the reason why it's cool to own is because someone's going to buy it and I'm going to make money off of it.
but why? Why?
Like outside of profit, I don't see the appeal of NFTs.
My hands are on my forehead every time I think about it. I'm thinking, why?
It makes sense if you look at it from like if you want to like sports tickets because it gets verified, the ownership gets
Yeah,
verified through the blockchain. So
like a
so it's like
ticket to some kind of event makes sense.
yeah, like stuff like that. But just like art and videos and like I could just go on. Like I don't have the need to own it. Like I just don't have the need.
Mhm.
Even if it's like if you tell me like, hey, you can own this NBA highlight for $15, I'm like, why? I can just go to YouTube and watch it. Like I don't need to watch one highlight that many times.
Because like every now and then I think about how did this start? Like I think about like who was the first guy that milked a cow? Like
Whoever
why?
that is,
Yeah,
smart person.
yeah, maybe. Who was the first guy to put suntan lotion on, like to protect their skin from the sun? Like all these things I think about. But how did this start? Because it started from something, and then it blew up into some huge collectible crypto trading market, basically, which is essentially what it is, in my opinion. Anyway,
Yeah, I
like
mean, I looked at it from a crypto trading perspective, just because it's on a blockchain. I think the way that it started, it's just a natural progression. The more normal the blockchain becomes, the more normal that technology becomes, the more it's going to get used throughout all of society. So it's
yeah.
not just Bitcoin, it's not just Ethereum and decentralized finance and stuff like. No, it's going to be used throughout society in one way or the other. And I think just art and entertainment is just the next step towards it, and it's just like it's gonna happen,
Mm,
but now people are looking at it from an investment perspective.
mm,
Like they're viewing it the same way
mm,
that they might view Bitcoin, like as a store of value. And
mm.
you know what, like physical things such as like baseball cards or whatever, they also have physical value. Like there's certain things that make sense to be an NFT, like certain things that are
Yeah,
extremely rare and you can't just find it online. And
yeah,
even if you can find it online, it has no value because you don't own it. Like I
mm,
can find a rare basketball card or baseball card online, but I don't
yeah,
have it, so I don't own it, and because of that, it has no value.
mm,
But for people who collect that kind of stuff, it does have a value.
mm. It's interesting, man. It's I just feel like it's collectibles going crazy.
I think it is too. Yeah, it is.
Like I guess if I'm rich, I'm like I want to own something that's totally unique that no one else has, because there's all these other rich people and they've got things that no one else has as well. So this is like the next natural progression, I guess.
Yeah.
So at what point? Because there's a lot of ideas about it, like where is it gonna go, and is it like a bubble that's gonna explode, and all that stuff is worth nothing in 10, 15 years time, or is it just gonna continue to like infinitely grow and develop? So it's really weird, man. Like I've heard games might get released on the blockchain, just like purely on the blockchain, so we can buy like video games or
Yeah, you
um,
see, this is where that's super
films.
interesting. Like I read something in particular and specifically about games and what they can do in games, and this is where NFTs make so much sense. Is that
Mhm.
let's say you play Call of Duty, let's say it's on a blockchain, right?
Yeah.
You play Call of Duty and then they release 10 weapons, exclusive weapons that only 10 people can own.
Mm,
And then the people can use it to, let's say it's like crazy good and it's better than any other weapon, and those 10 people own something that everyone else wants, and it makes their experience better in the game that they play every day. But they can also rent it out and
mm,
make money off of something that they own without giving up ownership.
mm.
Like, to me, it makes sense when there's a practical use for it.
Yeah.
But just a piece of art that is just gonna hang somewhere on someone's wall or whatever, or in someone's crypto wallet or whatever, like that doesn't make sense. But when it's something that has an actual use in real life, I think right now we're in the early stages, so it's just gonna
I
seem
think
ridiculous.
I think that's why I get confused by the value of this, because I'm trying to see it from a physical use perspective rather than a collectible perspective. Because yeah, to me, like I collect things every now and then because I like seeing them and having them, but obviously I'm not rich, so I don't know. I guess I don't have the fascination with having material wealth like that.
Right.
So I guess we are really different from that perspective. But
We're not the same.
yeah, so I guess we'll have to interview someone that's really rich to get an idea. Then,
Oh yeah,
mm,
that's not a bad idea.
yeah,
I don't know anyone really rich, but I'm sure we can find someone.
they might buy a camera for you as well.
Oh, let's get someone on then.
Well, yeah. Moving on from there, so I just mentioned like how they're going to put films out as well. Apparently, um, I'll quickly move on to the last phase. I just want to start doing a section where we do a little um, talk about anything recently we found interesting or inspiring, or anything we've watched or consumed, because a large part of creativity is consuming. Because usually when you're burning out, probably because you spent more time creating than you spent consuming. That's kind of the way I see it. It's like the balance of that. And sometimes you need a rest between that, where your brain needs to process all the information that you've been putting in and receiving as well. And that's like my theory of the creative burnout anyway, because I definitely haven't consumed anything for a while, that's like on a regular basis. So every now and then I like watch a film or something or play games,
Right.
but it hasn't been consistently for a very long time. But yeah, that's my theory. But yeah, the other night, you know what, I'll let you start. Anything you've watched or consumed recently?
Yes, it took me almost 10 years, but I finally watched The Hunger Games.
The
I
whole
watched,
series?
yeah, all of them.
Yeah,
And you know what? I'm so mad at myself for not watching it sooner. It's such a good series. Like,
really.
yeah, I was sitting on the edge of my seat. I was just like, what is gonna happen, man? Like, no, Katniss, don't go down there. Like, I was invested, bro. Like, I love that series.
So random, but why? Why did you
You
just pick
know,
that out of all things?
I think I just clicked on the Netflix button and it went to Netflix, and I just think it suggested it, and I was like, all right, it's movie night, and I haven't watched it before. Usually, we watch a movie that I watched because I like to
You-
watch movies that I like.
Wow. So
Yeah,
you put that on your wife, like that you have to watch stuff that you've already watched.
like well, yeah. I mean, we try to find stuff that neither one of us have watched, but the few times we've done it, it turned out to be like horrible movies. So the
Fair
safe
enough.
bet has been like, all right, you know what? I know a few good movies. Do you want to watch it? Yes, no, and then this time
Mm,
it was the other way around. Like,
okay.
she had watched it, I haven't watched it, but she had forgotten everything.
Yeah.
So it was like watching it for the first time for her.
Mm.
So that was I loved watching that the whole series, and I think it gave me like a boost of energy. Like
What was good about it?
just the whole story. Like I watched. I think there was a movie called, was it Contract Killer or something stupid, where
That
they
sounds so trashy.
yeah, it's horrible. But I watched it as a kid, and as a kid, like, you love everything, and
Yeah.
it's like a tournament. Just like, have you watched the Hunger Games?
Yeah. I watched the first one, but I've read the books back in the day.
It's like a tournament where they bring in not innocent people, but assassins, and they
Yeah.
have to kill each other.
Okay.
And I just watched that whole thing, and I started analyzing the Hunger Games, and I see a lot of symbolism in the movies. I was just like, wow, this is just well put together, and the acting was great, and
Mhm.
like it. I was just sucked into the movie. I genuinely loved it.
From a filmmaking perspective, do you really enjoy it as well, or is it something that you would review or break
Uh,
down?
I mean, I've thought about maybe, like, if I can find something. I did notice one thing. It's that in the last one they mentioned democracy a lot,
Okay.
and they mentioned democracy a lot, and some of the posters. I know it doesn't make sense because it's the poor people who are taking down the rich. So
Yeah.
it's not quite communism versus capitalism, but the posters that they were hanging in the capital, which is where the rich people live, they looked very much like the communists. Was the hammer and sickle?
I'm not sure.
Even the color scheme looked like it, and they were fighting for democracy. And I was like, you know what? There's definitely some thought put behind this,
Hmm.
and like,
You know, I'd really love to have on you know who I'd really love to have on as a guest.
oh,
There's someone she's a graphic designer who designs a lot of the stuff on set on films. So she's like a set
oh,
designer kind of thing, but she done a lot of the graphics for the Grand Budapest Hotel. And for me, that film, like graphically, like had tons of things where I was just like, wow, I wonder how they created that. Or it's just like the thought that got put into so many different things,
right.
like leaflets, posters. There was also the paintings as well in the actual film. So she's called Annie Atkins. She's worked on a whole bunch of different films. I followed her on Twitter, but yeah, I think it's gonna be a struggle to shoot that shot, but we'll see.
Hey, shoot your shot. That's what we got
I
to do.
will
That's how we
do.
get guests on.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. Don't worry, but it'll be interesting to get that kind of guest on. But yeah, man,
For
there's another
sure.
film like a few years ago I watched back, which was Predator. It was just Predator, but I don't remember who like the Adrian Broner, I think is his name.
Yeah.
pretty big. Yeah, he was like the star in that show. It wasn't a great film, but it wasn't terrible. But that whole concept was the Predator like picked a whole bunch of different soldiers and stuff from different army like countries and stuff, and then he put them like they put them all together and put them on a planet that the Predator had to try and hunt them down as like a rite of passage. So it's like a young Predator basically, and then yeah, the whole film was about them fighting it off. Sorry,
Yo.
yeah, spoilers, but for me, the I watched the film last night called One Night in Miami. It's on Amazon Prime right now. Have you watched that?
One Night in Miami?
Yeah. So it's like a fictional account of like historical black figures, Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali, singer called Sam Cooke, and then I forgot one American footballer who became an actor called
Jim Brown.
Jim Brown, yeah, something like that. And it's like a fictional account of when Muhammad Ali beat Sonny Liston, and it's like the night that they're meant to celebrate. It's like they have like a whole a night where they're just in a hotel room, just like talking about different things, philosophies and stuff. And Malcolm X is going like off on a whole bunch of different topics. So it's kind of like a black power kind of empowerment movement for black people, but it's really like it starts off slow, but it like goes in a really, really deep way. And I've always said, like, in terms of films where there's a lot of heavy monologue, like I really don't enjoy the majority of them.
Right.
But this one, like, it starts off slow, but like towards the end, it just gets really good, man. I really enjoyed it, and it's like all these historical figures that were heroes for me growing up, like Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X. I really look up to their ideals and stuff. Although, like Muhammad, like both of them, like they've had their controversial moments, especially Malcolm X, obviously. But like later on in his life, I feel like he embodied a lot of the values that I embody. So it's just really interesting the way they go about it, man. So I definitely recommend that as a watch. It gave me a lot of ideas as well about writing. Like I really want to get back into writing now. It's one of the things I've got on my list, but yeah, that list never ends. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to talk about today.
It's an Amazon original movie.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Episode 15, we talked about business perspective, Ray Roos's new series,
Yes.
Hollywood breakdowns, NFTs from absolute novice perspectives, and also our little inspiration recommendations there, but aren't really recommendations, just our thoughts. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. The boys here from the Bluprint on the Bluprint Podcast. We'll see you guys in episode 16.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you tell a friend and stay tuned for the next one. Peace.